Today's acrylic nail tutorial is full of time-saving tips to do a nail fill in under 45 minutes. We're going to go over polish removal, application tips. We're going to talk about how to file, how much time to spend on filing, polish application, and lots more. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Meticulous Manicurist Nail Tutorials. I'm Lori Halloway, Master Nail Technician, salon owner, and author of Sheer Savvy, Secrets and Strategies for Successful Salon Apprenticeships. I'm setting a new standard in nail education utilizing real life, real situations for real learning. My tutorials provide explicit instruction for a thorough understanding of theory and technique. Join me by subscribing today to learn everything you need to know to be the best. Yeah, President's Day, no school.
Loved it. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very good. I got your coffee.
Thank you. Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe. It is free. You'll just get a little notification when I upload something. So you're here today because you want to learn how to do a faster fill, and the only way I know how to do that is to show you how I do a fill in real time.
Yeah, but it's stupid.
And this client has on normal nail polish, so we're going to remove that with 100% acetone. Nail polish comes off much faster when you use 100% acetone, so that's your first tip to doing a faster fill, is to use 100% acetone. People have been asking for more acrylic fills because they said that they like how I teach things. The editing is what takes so long when I do videos, so to save time in the editing process, you're going to hear our conversation in the background. And unfortunately, if the people who don't like to hear that in the background, I'm sorry. But if you want more acrylic fills, because of the time-consuming editing process, that's just how it has to be.
He or she, it wasn't close. They weren't riding me by any means, but I think it was the headlights were making the fog more intense,
the reflection.
You know?
Yeah, you're not supposed to wear your...
Well, they didn't have the brights, but I think they were just high. It's just a bigger light, you know? I mean, and I was...
This client is a hairstylist, and you'll see that she has a little bit of hair color that has seeped in between the acrylic and the natural nail on her middle finger, and hopefully you can't see a lot. I don't know, I remember talking about I have hair color stuck underneath a couple of my nails too, so that's going to be gross when you see that. But as you know, my motto is real life, real situations for real learning, and it's never a perfect opportunity to film something to teach you guys something. And in real life, you know, we get stuff stuck under our fingernails all the time.
I thought, this is insane. Just insane. And I don't know if it really was the truck's fault or not.
Well, that's scary because then if something did stop suddenly in front of you and you weren't able to see
Oh,
that.
no. Oh, God, no. Well, what was worse was when cars would come and their lights were shining at me.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything other than their lights in white. It was crazy. And all I thought to myself is, that's all they're seeing, too. You know, they ain't seeing better than I'm seeing because they were in the front, you know. But I thought, I don't want to be the leader of the pack. I would much rather be behind somebody. And then I turned on 52, and right when I was turning on Hogan, somebody turned to where they were in front of me, and I thought, thank you, God.
Oh, gosh.
I needed that. Oh, I had a cut on my finger I forgot about till I felt that.
Oh, where at? Oh, I see it.
That splinter. Laziness.
Man, your hair looks great today.
Oh, you think so? It's so big.
I know, I love it.
It's huge.
I love it.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better because it's just gigantic. I've got it next week. I'm going to have Dave give me a GK, but there's a conditioning treatment that's like a mild version of it just to help with the frizz, or I would be a total fro today.
Right.
Oh, do you mind if I look
Nope,
at that?
you can grab that.
For sure. I normally put it with me for that reason. My father-in-law had that sleep apnea test last night, where you go in and sleep and they monitor you. because he's not doing real well right now. He's got fluid on him that can't get off. So he has congestive heart failure is starting to get the best of him, and he can't breathe when he has all that fluid on him. But they think that if he had that, what do they call the CPAC machine to help him, that it would help.
Huh.
So that's.
Are they getting too long yet?
Right now, yeah, but I like the length that they were 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the length.
You may have noticed when I took off her nail polish, she said had some stains under the acrylic. That was from the last time because she is a hairstylist and she's been liking wearing her nails a little bit longer. She had some cracks on the sides of her nail where the acrylic meets, the side of her finger. And she had some lifting and got some moisture trapped underneath there and got a little bit of Pseudomonas spots on her nails. But there's no lifting today, so we don't have to worry about it. It's just a stain and it's not going to hurt her nails. So the first step after we remove the polish is to push back the cuticles with our cuticle pusher, and we're going to use the knife edge of the cuticle pusher to scrape off any pterygium that is adhered to the nail plate, and make sure that you have a good space. The skin is pushed back really well so you can file the nail with the nail file to buff off any skin that is still stuck to the nail plate.
And all of his sisters then were also married. He's the only male left. So all of the brother-in-laws have passed and all of the brothers have passed. So he stayed with us for about 4 days. And that just changes your schedule of the things that you do. He's a pretty easy house guest, though.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So what are the boys doing today? Lounging?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, my focus is time saving for fills. So another motto that I have is you touch it once. You don't want to be picking up and putting down different implements over and over and over again when you do a fill. So you don't want to pick up your file, start filing to blend the acrylic to the natural plate, and then find that you have some lifting and you need to sit down your file and pick up your nippers. So I start with my nippers. I go around and I just squeeze that acrylic, any tiny little lifted parts. Some of this, yes, I could just file off, but I don't want to do a lot of filings. I want to do blending with my fingernail file. So I'm going to go around on all 10 fingers and I'm going to squeeze those little areas that have a teeny bit of lifting, and I'm going to pop it off with my nippers so I don't have to do a lot of filing. And I don't have to pick up and sit down my nippers and my fingernails files over and over and over again. I'm going to do it once. After the nipping, we're going to use our fingernail file to blend the old acrylic into the natural nail so you don't have terrible fill lines, and we're going to remove any shine and any little bits of adhered skin off of the nail plate.
Meticulous manicurist stuff. Oh my God, it hurts my brain.
I bet. Because it's important.
And it has to fit on like a million different things.
So what's your next stage with your thing?
I'm just waiting now, so it's to be docketed. So it passed, it was inspected and made sure all of the parts and stuff were there. And now I'm just in line. But thank goodness it's not 22 months anymore waiting. It's only 8. I logged on to the United States Patent Attorney's Office the other day, and they'll give you an update.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah.
So what's the next stage after that?
They'll tell me if any of my claims are, like sometimes you can say something and they're like, you can't claim that.
Okay, so they have to double check that you're not fraudulently.
Yeah, you're not, you know, claiming something. Like, you can't claim it's going to heal somebody or...
Okay.
Everything has to be worded appropriately, and then if there's anything that needs to be changed, then I'll get an office action saying that I need to adjust stuff, and if not, then it gets approved. So I'm waiting. That reminds me, today I have to order this respirator mask because this stuff that I have to use to put on the prototype to make all of the surface smooth smells really bad, and they say that you have to wear this respirator mask. And I can't do it in the house because it's too stinky, and it's too cold to do it in the garage. So that's the next step with the prototype, is I have to put this coating over top of it, and then I'm going to make a mold of it, and I'm going to try to pour a few and see how that goes without... See how difficult it is. If it's super difficult, then we just go forward with
Somebody else doing it?
paying the guy to make the injection mold. But you know, it's a little nerve-wracking because when I first launch it, I don't know if I'm going to get 10 orders or 100 orders.
I know.
And I don't want people to sit around and have to wait for 100 orders. But if I make a mold at home and pour it...
That one I don't need, just ignore it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I should just bring it over here and turn it off. Let me do that. You know,
Yeah.
on my weekends, I just... And I have to have it blazing loud because it's either in my purse or sitting someplace else, and I don't have a house phone. So I always... If I turn it down now, I won't remember to turn it back up. So sorry about that.
That's all right. Doesn't bother me. I always turn mine on silent at night, so, you know, because it goes off all night long with notifications and stuff of the YouTube channel. And then in the mornings, I'll forget to turn it back on. So
I
it'll be in
always
my
do.
purse and it's on vibrate and I can't hear it.
Dave takes his phone upstairs, and I leave mine downstairs because I figured if there's any emergencies, they would call his phone too,
Right.
looking for me. You know what I mean? My worst
Yeah.
case scenario. Because I know myself. I don't remember to turn it back up.
Right. I forget what I was telling you about.
Oh, well, we're talking about the mold. If you're fortunate enough.
So if I get this coating on it, make the mold, pour a few, and I'm like, oh, this isn't so bad. You know, in the next 6 months, maybe I'll be able to make 100 of
can
them at
crank them
home.
out. Mhm.
Yeah. And so then if I launch it and get 100 orders, I'll be able to fill it. But my goal is to at least try to make a little bit of money to go toward that cost of making the injection mold because it's expensive. I mean, it's going to be...
And that's when you get to the point of someone else doing it. An injection mold is someone else doing it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's like $28,000.
Holy smokes.
Looks like we both have hair color under some of our fingernails.
I don't doubt it. I did my niece's hair, and she's like a natural level 3, so I color it a 3 with 10 volume just so it's you know, smooth and shiny, just maybe a couple times a year. So she wants like an ombre slash, you know, the whole balayage concept, you know. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to do it because I'm going to see how far I can go on her. Because, you know, how do you price that when you're dealing with how many times do I have to reapply and how much product do I have to use and how much time do I need? And I don't do it often enough that I could look at her and she's heavily naturally pigmented. She's dark complected. She has dark eyes, you know. So I can tell her, look, I can't get it light enough. We're gonna have to go caramel. But I'm gonna shoot for the stars, and we're gonna have to take it off,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
have to take it off, and that's very difficult for me to say to a client, but especially a young person.
Well, doesn't it stop working after 45 minutes anyway?
Well, yeah. Well,
Like theoretically,
well, I put,
lightener.
I have a client that I use 30 volume bleach for 55 minutes. So, and it
Okay.
still moves. They say it doesn't, but it moves.
It will.
It moves. You know?
I can't stand when you try to speed it up, put them under the dryer, and it just dries it up. You're like, yeah, that didn't
Well,
work.
I do my frostings under the dryer. I do all my, but hers
But if
is
you
on a
leave them
scalp.
on so long, then they just dry up.
Well, I don't know. I haven't had a problem. But I'm not really shooting for, I mean, you know, it just depends. Thinner sections. You know, I've always done it, so I don't even know what I do to make it not happen because I've never put my frosting on and not put it under a dryer.
Do you apply lightener to damp hair as well?
Yes.
Like you do your color?
I
That's
do.
probably why it doesn't dry up.
Yeah, I rarely do it on dry hair.
I'm going to try that.
I have one person I do it on dry hair. But most of the time I cut first, so it's damp, you know, but
Right.
it is damp. And that would make sense. But her, so I tried the color Plex
Oh, yeah?
for the first time.
Yeah.
Because Pam that I work with, she does a lot more. She'll jump into the avant-garde work where I, with no exaggeration, will blow it off. I'll send them to her. Because I don't have a fashion color line. I don't want to have a fashion color line. It's probably not a good idea.
No, I don't like it.
But
at all.
it's
Let's talk about the placement of your acrylic when you're doing your fill. You're going to sit your ball of acrylic in the center of the nail, and then you're going to use the left side of your brush to get it close to the left side, and then the right side of the brush to get it close to the right side, and then you're going to brush it up the nail plate. Make sure that no acrylic is stuck anywhere on the skin or is touching the skin, and move on to the next nail.
So, no problem there. So, but I've been watching her, and I've been watching her do a little bit more of it. I mean, and I knew our goal was never going to get platinum because her hair would disintegrate before we get to that point. But I asked her all the questions because she's taken the True Balayage course, and she does use the clay color lightener, and then she also uses the lightener that I use, the Least Step lightener. So she knows everything that I normally do, and then it does that also.
Now to do an overlay on this entire natural nail, I'm going to pick up a bigger bead of acrylic. I'm going to sit it close, but not up to the cuticle line. I'm going to walk the acrylic over to the sides with the tip of my brush. I'm going to walk it over to the side with the tip of my brush. I'm just lightly patting it, just barely touching the acrylic and pulling it slightly forward to move it up all the way to the end of the nail. Now I'm going to get a second bead of acrylic. I'm going to sit it on the free edge side of the nail.
It slowed it right down.
The ColorPlex did?
I'm going to press it to the left and to the right, just lightly tapping it.
Yeah, I mean, it slowed it down.
Now I'm going to wipe and wet my brush off again, turn my brush around, and blend it up the nail. Acrylic will move as it's drying, so you have to make sure that it's not flattening out too much in one place or another, and that it's not slid down into the nail walls. So while it's setting up, I still try to pat it and move it a tiny bit so I get it right where I want it, because I don't want to do a lot of filing when it's dry. So right now I'm just shaping it, sculpting it, making sure it looks as close to a real nail as possible, making sure that it's, you know, not flat or drooped down in any places. And if I need to add any teeny bits of a little bit more of acrylic to shape it properly, then I'm going to add that little bit of acrylic and make sure it's, you know, a good shape so I don't have to file it very much when I'm finished.
Right.
And you always want to look at it from the side of the nail and down the tip of the nail until it's really properly shaped.
It was beautiful because I seen lots of pictures of it, but it just wasn't very motherly. She said I'm having these mother and baby pictures, and I just decided to go all dark again. But it was light enough to make aqua, like, you know, low. Again, it was all black on the top.
Thumbs are a little bit
But she
bigger,
said
so
that
make
she
sure
used
that you leave
a
that
Malibu
brush in
treatment
your
in
acrylic
between.
powder for an extra
And I don't know
second so it
anything about
absorbs
that.
a little bit more powder before you sit it on the nail plate. You want to have enough
What do you mean in between
of a
what?
fill bead that it's going to cover that entire section.
Your camera.
It's reversed? I don't know what you're talking about. No.
Can you see?
Why don't you stand up and look? Yes, Bruce.
Turns out she can't see. I thought it was...
She's smarter than the average bear, you know.
This is the first time I've filmed using that contraption, so it's like a test to see if it works.
Okay, we're just testing it. When you're done,
I'm here
you
for.
get to hold the gem.
Fancy.
And so that your nails, so you can hold them. Oh, look.
Oh, that's clever. I like it.
People are such bad hand models. They have no idea how to hold their fingers. It's
Oh, no.
so bad.
Well, pick a good color that you want to use for it. You can pick whatever you want it to be. So yes, she said something about a Malibu treatment between, she had it colored, like it had to be lightened twice to get to that color when she had it done that day. And risky people. See,
All right, I just thought of a tip to share for the secret of no lifting. You cannot touch the nail with your wet brush. It will lift. You have to make sure that the only thing that touches that fill space is the wet acrylic. You have to move the wet acrylic with your brush onto the nail surface. You can't let the corner or the tip of your brush, when you're scooting acrylic over, touch the nail, because it ruins the bond between the primer and that wet acrylic.
Yeah, look at my hair. But so I put an 8.0 over it with 10 volume, and it looked really nice. So I was really happy with it. But I wondered what, I mean, to me, a Malibu treatment was like a chlorine remover.
Well, there's
there's
different
But I,
formulas.
it's
Yeah.
a product I'm not familiar with.
Right.
I only have heard of it.
There's about 5 or 6 different formulas.
So that was something that, you know, I'm like, well, I'll have to investigate that, because she's kind of my guinea pig, and I like having her as a guinea pig, because I might read the pieces are pretty ribbony. They wouldn't be impossible. I could never pick up every hair, obviously, but I might be able to get a lighter shade of caramel combination with it, you know, and go back and go over it, because it is left in really good condition. But now I want to know what this Malibu thing is. And I figured, you know what?
It's kind of like just an Olaplex, just making sure the condition of the hair is not too compromised.
It's just a treatment that you put on in between. Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, then maybe I'll just give
and
it a
there's
shot
hard
again.
water, and there's swimmers, and there's...
So that's
treatment,
where I'm
and
getting
then
it
there's a
from.
color
Okay,
remover,
because the
and then there's-
swimmer treatment is the one that I'm familiar with the name.
Right. Yeah.
Another nail tip to speed your time up is you, remember, you touch it once, only shorten once. So you don't shorten the nails before you fill the nails. You're only blending the new growth before you fill the nails. Because by the time you shorten the nails, and then you're going to come back and you're going to file the new fill area, and then you're going to refine the free edge again, you're still wasting several minutes of your time. So you're only going to shorten the nails after you fill the nails.
And that's not including another ounce of 8.0 for the toner.
Hi, Nicole.
So, you know, considering product and time, I would have a place to go for time and charge.
And they're
You know what I mean?
a free crayon came with those foils.
I was wondering what that was.
So what? But I have 5 bulging discs
Oh, do you?
and
She has
1
an MRI.
extruding disc.
I wish I
Yes.
could have an MRI. They said that the only way they can do it is if they take out all my bladder stimulator stuff and then do it while I'm still unconscious and put it back in. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a very good idea to me. That seems stupid.
Yeah,
I
that's
got a bladder
kinda
stimulator. That's what I
stupid.
need. When I need to pee, I need to be charged.
I know, so I had it shot and I'm on my 5th day of oral steroids and at least I can stand up. This is the 2nd time I've left my house since Wednesday. And one of them was to go to the hospital.
I
Well,
got
You must be kind of cheery.
I got a Depo steroid shot last week and it helped a ton.
Did it? See, I had that, and then when I was at the ER, they gave me a Toradol and a muscle relaxer shot too, and
Yeah, those don't work.
yeah, shit.
Those make you dizzy for like 6 hours.
I didn't care. 'Cause you should have seen me. It was like
That sounds horrible.
those horror stories that you see of people in labor, like screaming at their husband times a million. Because I was gonna I think he had like personal vendetta and drove over every bump. in the whole
Oh my
entire-
God. I remember feeling like that driving down the road. Do you, Bruce?
What?
When Bruce would be driving, I'm like, God damn it, if you hit
When
another
Lori
bump."
doesn't feel good, when Lori doesn't feel
I'm
good,
so
you can't
mean.
do
Oh
shit
my
right. You
God.
can't breathe
I know.
correctly.
No, I am mean as a
Why do
snake.
you have to stop so fucking fast?
Yep.
No, this is, okay, to put it in perspective, this is what Bruce said to me one day, and I was like, oh. He goes, man, your words cut deep. I said, oh shit, I better be nice.
At least I'm not like that all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I
Lori, no, when she don't have a filter, she don't give a fuck. And if you're sitting there thinking,
Oh.
man, if I even sort of said shit like that.
Well, you know what? No, I'm allergic to, like literally, they put it on my chart as an allergy. I'm allergic
Vicodin.
to Vicodins and
That's fucking
Percocets and stuff.
mean as
They
fuck.
make me mean. I mean, mean.
She means mean.
You're miserable. And you're vicious.
gotta go. My kids are
No, she.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
See ya.
President's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
All right, bye.
No, she means like you take the pill and people get, some sort of relief out of Vicodin, and it just turns up Lori's bitch factor.
Yes. Whew, boy. Like, I don't
Vicodin
even
one
like
time and I
myself
hated
when I
it.
take it.
Well, that's
And it
what I mean.
doesn't work. I mean, it makes you like distracted where you're
Yes.
thinking about other stuff instead of, it's like, oh, don't think about your back and your neck hurting. Just think about, I don't know, you just lose patience. Everything bothers you.
I took it when I had Sam and I was at the hospital and I was waiting for Dave and I had, it was the day I got up. I was taking, is it Darvocet, the pink pill?
Oh, yeah,
I think
probably.
is what it was. And that worked pretty good. But I was laying in bed. I wasn't doing anything. So I thought, well, I'm getting up. I'm antsy. I'm moving, walking around, I'm waiting for him to come. He's bringing Carly. I hadn't seen her in 3 days. And I thought I better take the Vicodin because they were sending me home with it. God, did I hate that shit. I'm like, when is this going to go away? I mean, I wouldn't even hold Sam.
So I've been filing the same way for so many years that it's usually around, to shorten a nail, it's like 7 to 10 strokes depending on how much they want me to take off. To go around the cuticle on the left side, it's like 5 to 7 strokes, and then to go around to the right side, the same, around 5 strokes. And then to go across the nail is usually between 5 and 10 times to go across to smooth everything out. But I always shorten the nail first because you have to taper that tip when you're going across the top of the nail to blend all of that in. And I usually spend like 1 minute per nail, so it should take you about 10 minutes to file the nails when you're
maybe
done
that's
filling
why
them
there's
in.
such an epidemic on opioids is because it's killing people because people are so mean.
Yeah, there you go. Ugh, it is. I did not. I hated it. I couldn't focus on ignoring the pain. Sometimes you have to talk yourself through the pain.
Oh,
and work on it. And it just made me feel terrible. I couldn't wait for it to go away. And I must have called David 20 times. He goes, I'm in the elevator. Where are you? I'm in in the elevator. I'm like, okay.
Is he back on his horse?
Yeah. He did way too much yesterday. He was hurting pretty good.
He was testing that hip.
Yeah. Well, it was feeling good. The hip was feeling really good. So, a couple walks through the snow and then down the ravine. That wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be going up and down the ravine.
That
just
was
yet.
not a good idea. And then we moved the freezer, the deep freeze, we moved into the closet that I have back there because in the summertime it's too hot in the garage and it fights to keep,
Oh yeah.
and it doesn't stop running. So we decided to put it at the end of in there because it's not something you're frequently in and out of as if it gets a deer or if we were to buy half a pig or something like that. So if we're not, it's empty and not running right now, but we figured it'd be more efficient. We stopped wanting to use it when it came for the summertime. We could only felt comfortable using it in the winter because we opened it a couple of times and things were not rock hard. So it didn't seem like a good idea. So that was, you know, him taking a deep freeze on a dolly, you know, and you know what I mean?
He's gonna have too much confidence,
This
and
is
then he's
all
gonna end
in
up
one
hurting
day.
his back.
This is all one day. He did all of that yesterday. So, needless to say, he's running a little sore today. But he's just so happy he's not hurting.
That's great.
Now, if someone were going to get gel polish, you do not have to buff the nails. You do not have to remove the fill lines because the gel polish fills in all of those little tiny crevices. But she wears natural nail polish, not natural nail polish, but just regular nail polish. And so we have to buff out all those fill lines and make sure the nail's nice and smooth, or you will be able to see them in the nail polish.
Actually, that is what I had in my mind.
Yeah, I'm in the mood for something a little lighter. I mean, it is going to be 65.
Do you want it to be nice and flat or have any shimmer in it?
I like it flat, I think.
Okay.
Can you put a little shimmer maybe on one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Whichever one is maybe a ring finger or something, or
Sure.
pinky, whatever you think. Something different. I'm thinking I might have to go to the theater early and buy the tickets now. Now that I think about it, I bet there'll be a million people at the theater today.
They have an app. You can buy them right on the app, too.
Yeah, do that.
Did you join the rewards club?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Do you guys go there much?
Yeah, we go a couple times a month, probably. We've never been to the movies so much since it opened. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so
Well,
reasonable.
nothing was convenient.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoy it. It's a nice place to go. It was the best thing they ever did was put a movie theater. I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably a gold mine for them because we all need something close. So you have to drive for everything.
Yes.
I would love an ice skating rink.
Me too.
I wish they would put an ice skating rink.
We need like a community center with a lot of
With
activities.
an ice skate, you know,
Yeah.
I'm surprised I mean, I'm sure that that's an involved thing, but I would think that community, or the rec center has all that land. I mean, an ice skating rink would work. People would use it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to drive all the way to Ann Arbor to go to an ice skating rink.
Mm-mm. All right, you can go wash off.
Carly just had a birthday party.
Polishing can be a big time thief. So when you're polishing, I'm going to tell you a few tips. On the base coat, make sure that you press down on the bristles enough so they fan out. You want the bristles to fan out so they cover almost all of the nail plate. In school you learn, three swipes of the nail brush. Well, when people have really long nails, it's going to take you more than 3, but especially on the base coat and the first coat of polish, you do not have to be perfect. You want to get it as close to the cuticle as you possibly can. When you're polishing the left side of the nail, you're staring at the left tip of the nail brush, and when you're polishing the right side of the nail, you're staring at the right tip of the nail brush bristles. So you make sure that you get them all the way to the edge. But you're going to apply firm pressure, and you're going to use a quick, brisk stroke. You don't want to go too slow because the polish will pool onto the nail and it will cause you more problems. You want one thin
Oh,
coat
I
of base
changed
coat
coffee
on the whole
already this
nail.
morning.
Me too.
It's like making me shake.
I drink little cups like this,
Mm-hmm.
and you only drink them like half full.
That'll do it, right?
So the first coat of the polish, you're going to use the same technique. If you have too much polish on your brush, you can do one swipe down the center of the nail first, and then go to the left and to the right. I try to do the left side all the way and then the right side all of the way, and then maybe one quick stroke down the center of the nail. Especially with light color polishes, you can get brush stroke lines in them. So you want to make sure that you're only using a tiny bit of polish on the bristles of the brush, and don't worry about any of those brush strokes lines until the second coat of polish.
Oh, that sounds cool. Is that your color?
No, mine is a gel color.
Coffeeed up?
How's my off Monday Judy doing?
Oh, she's doing well. She's getting ready to go to Egypt.
Really?
Yeah. She might actually be there now.
With the church?
No, just with one of her friends that she travels with.
I can't believe these warm temperatures. Crazy. Be 52 today and 65 tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully by then all of the rest of the snow will have melted.
Mm-hmm.
The final coat of polish, you're going to have a little bit of a different technique. You're going to have a little bit more polish on the bristles of your brush, and you're not going to use as much pressure, and you're going to use like an extra stroke to make sure that the coverage is really good. So a little bit less pressure, just lightly feathering the polish over top of that first layer, and making sure all of those brush stroke lines are covered up.
You know, but it's fun.
I remember playing at my grandma's house when I was young, and we had this rope swing down in this ravine, and that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's our favorite thing to do.
Like every year I tell myself this, and yet I don't go down there every year, so I kind of was surprised. But right where it
ends and pools. It's ice, and it's probably only 4 inches, 5 inches thick. So there's no real water. Like if you broke through, your ankle would be wet.
Right,
There's
your
not.
foot.
It's not like there's
Test the water temp.
anything bad. But it must have keep the weeds down because it's a true ice little pond, and it's reasonably large. And I thought, all I need to do is shovel this thing, and they could skate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and they really could skate. And I thought, the first year I thought about it, I thought, well, maybe I'm delusional. Maybe it's not as big as I think. Maybe there's too many weeds coming up through it,
Wouldn't be smooth.
Like, am I imagining that? And I went back down there today and I thought, absolutely, this is a huge area. There's no weeds, no trees coming up in the middle of it. It literally just needs to be shoveled. And it was ice underneath it. It's kind of slushy ice right now because of the temperatures, but
You don't want a tea or
you should seriously consider doing that and just get them some
I can,
used skates and
like a shot of Kahlua to take the edge off that coffee.
those are great. I like that.
When do you guys have to go to Peter Rabbit, Leslie?
When?
Huh?
Did you say when?
When? Yeah.
1:20.
Is Dave going?
No.
Huh? No.
No. He's not a movie fan. To sit in a movie theater, I cannot tell you the last time I sat in the movies with Dave. He said,
Lori-
your
Lori
feelings
tried-
won't be hurt if I don't go, right? I'm like, you don't want to go.
Lori tried to get my dad to go to the movie. He
Yeah,
probably
he
hasn't
was
been
like-
to a movie, and I don't think my dad's ever been in, that I can recall, a movie theater where there's like a. Oh, actually, when the kids were like really, really little, he went to one with like Evan. But I was like, yeah, that's not gonna go over. He doesn't want to go to the movie. He's grouchy.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. He's never been a fan of it. I think the last time we were in a movie theater, we seen Saving Private Ryan.
Wow, that's
That's-
a long.
That's the last time he was in a movie theater because he said he'd heard what a great movie.
The
it
last
was
step
and
is
seeing it in the
top
theater
coat. I
and
use a
everything.
fast drying
It was.
top
It was
coat.
insane, but
It's usually dry to the
that's the last
touch in
time I
about
was in a movie
5 minutes so they can at least run their fingers through their hair.
theater.
But if they dent it, it's not going to be dry for at least 30 minutes. I hope you guys learned quite a few things in this video today. The only way I can grow my channel and be successful is by all of my viewers helping me by clicking the like button, leaving me a comment about what you learned, and please share my videos. There's a share button where you can share to Facebook, Google+, Twitter, Tumblr, all kinds of, there's like 7 different places you can share my videos. So I would really appreciate it if you would help me grow my subscriber base. The more subscribers, the more shares that I get, then the more videos I am able to make, and I would really appreciate all of your help doing that.
I mean, no one does, and that's why they make
Yeah.
theaters like this, and then they have little sections that you even have aisleways
Yes.
between you, So I'm loving it.
Oh, alright. Well, I tell you what.
Like that Beauty and the Beast was amazing to see there. Carly and I went and seen that. There you go. And it was 2.5 hours long, and I will say it was too long. But up until the last 20 minutes, it was so captivating because it's a musical.
Right.
So you'd think that would wear you out. It would me, but it was great.
I've never seen any girl movies like that because of the boys.
Well, the next
You're
time I
like,
see
"We
something,
are
I will call you because you would love the Beauty and the Beast. It was gorgeous. I mean, it was just really any
We saw
adult.
the Beauty and the Beast.
I don't think so.
We did with the Harry Potter girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that one.
yeah. We saw Beauty
I was
and the
thinking
Beast.
the cartoon one.
We're not all heathens. We don't make her just watch shoot 'em up movies.
Yes, they do. Don't believe him for 1 second. Oh my God.
We totally saw Beauty and the Beast.
My children are like, don't even think about it. We're not
Hmm.
seeing any girl movies.
Oh, they look beautiful.
Yes, those are pretty.
Very, very nice. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. All right, I gotta go in the pedicure room.
Didn't you go watch some girl movie?
Here are some other great videos for you to check out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.